That video was quite something. I'll kick it off with you, Jim, since you've been our guide through this. What did you make of it?
Yeah, it was predictable, and I don't mean that in a bad way. But we talked in the last few days, Megyn, about that this was going to be done, and it was going to be done under advisement of the FBI and the sheriff's department, perhaps even some attorneys of the Guthrie family. So it was well facilitated and put together in that regard. The visuals were important, and obviously the words were important. The goal was to humanize Mrs. Guthrie, to make sure that she is seen as a human being. I don't think they called her Nancy once, if I recall.
One time.
All right.
One time they said her name.
Everyone else, every other time was mom, mama, mommy, and that's good. That's healthy. I was glad to see that. I would have advised the victims in this case to do the same thing. It was all about her fragility, both physically, and her heart, certainly in that regard, and her overall health. And I'm glad they brought that up too. So the important part in that presentation was humanize her, number one, and then say, look, we're open to talk. We're open to discuss this matter. Give us some sort of communication. Now, what we don't know yet, Megyn, is are one or more of these notes, these letters, these communications real, or the ones we don't even know about that are real? And are there certain words or expressions that the kidnappers, again, we're assuming at this point, perhaps that's what it is, wanted them to put in there? I know in the DC sniper case, Chief Moose was asked to put the line out there, we have the ducks in a noose. I'm paraphrasing. There was an odd spelling of the word noose. So there's times that kidnappers, they have the control, they have the power. They want to put people out there saying something. I also want to know, and I'll leave it at this, I think, who was sitting next to Savannah? I'm not sure who the man was.
Her brother, Savannah's brother, Cameron, her older brother.
And he said something at the very end, not much. And he was wearing a baseball cap, but I couldn't make out what the logo was on the cap. I'm not sure if that's significant or not. It may be nothing. Maybe he always wears a baseball cap wherever he goes. But I would like to know if that is something that put a baseball cap on. This means you're willing to do this, that, or the other to try to get mom back. So there are just some very basic,
some sort of signal.
Possibly speaking.
Can I ask you about this line? So Savannah, I mentioned at the top of the hour, it was extraordinary to witness. I mean, it was excruciating. But it was also jarring because, Savannah's manner, everything about her was just so different than what we normally see for obvious reasons. But I also did wonder, there's a reason, Jim, she didn't deviate from that script, right? I mean, like Savannah can absolutely look into camera and speak from the heart, especially on an issue like this. But they probably did not allow that, right? I mean, I would imagine the FBI is saying absolutely not.
Yeah, don't go off script. It may not have been written word for word, but certainly bullet points. I have no doubt they rehearsed it, and this is all a positive thing. They should have, and did a few different versions. And they no doubt, it was from the heart. She didn't have to fake that. Of course, we're aware of that. Nor her sister, nor her brother. So, but they wanted to make sure the right intonation, the right information was put out there because they know, And I'm still going to assume Mrs. Guthrie's alive, and who's ever holding her is in constant contact with her. And I should add here too, I'm glad that they spoke to her mother. They spoke to their mother directly. Mom, if you can hear this, Mom, we want you to know we're thinking of you every day. We're praying for you, and so that's important too. So
why are you glad?
Well, first of all, if they allow Mrs. Guthrie to hear or see this, that will be important to her. It would give her something to keep pushing. And let me then just go right from that to, I'm also glad they said they're willing to talk, but they need some sort of proof. And they even threw out there, essentially with AI, there's ways of manipulating these type of pictures. So we want something to know our mother, our mama, in different terms, is still alive. So they really covered a lot in that, 3 minutes or so. And I think they got everything out there of importance. They were obviously guided well, and it was clearly from the heart that they put those words together.
So, Jonathan, what did you make of it? Did you, it set off quite a debate on whether they're in negotiations with someone already or they're begging to have a conversation with someone. Because they said, we're ready to talk, we're ready to listen. And then there was that line about how, well, images and voices can be manipulated, which kind of suggested that they'd already received an image of their mom from this potential kidnapper. What was your take on all that?
Well, it's interesting because being on this side of law enforcement now, out and looking in, as you know, and James would know, we're trying to investigate what the police are actually doing. We're not just looking at this and analyzing the crime. We're trying to analyze exactly what is being done, and that's a difficult thing. But what I try to do is I take all the possibilities, I put them on a whiteboard, and then I start looking in particular at certain aspects of it, and I try not to narrow it down to one specific thing. But I think in this case, what we can glean from this is that first, they're taking that the possibility that these ransom letters and that this communication is real. So they're taking that seriously. And I think if this was a complete ruse, they might be able to track this pretty quick, or they would get a sense of whether or not it was real or not. But they're taking it seriously, and that's good. Seriously enough where they make a video with the family and put it out. So that leads me to believe that there's a potential that this is actually something that has validity. So then I start looking at statistics of how these things typically work out and who is normally involved. And we don't see a lot of these high profile ransoms and kidnappings anymore. They just doesn't happen that often. I think it has a lot to do with cameras, and it has a lot to do with the way that things occur inside the United States. We see these all the time in Mexico. So that's another point of this, is that they are right next to the border. They're very close to the border. So if there is any potential that someone along the way identified her for some reason, I don't think if somebody across the border was just wandering around in these different communities and picked one person at random to take them back over the border. It would be somebody that had to have met her, had an encounter with her, or studied for whatever reason who she is to go after her because she has or is connected to somebody that has money. So these are things that I'm starting to look at, and the potential for an abduction and a ransom is higher now than it was before the video. So I can't look at the video and say that it's real, but I can say that the abduction is real. But I can look at it and say the potential there, because of this video and the way that the law enforcement is acting, it's leading some credibility to that.
Jim, let me play you a soundbite from Savannah's sister, Annie. She spoke a little in the video, not as much as Savannah, but this line kind of jumped out at me as odd. And to your point about the brother wearing the baseball cap, and are there other clues in here? Like, is it possible they're saying things that they've been asked to say? Just tell me what you think of this. It's SOT 2.
The light is missing from our lives. Nancy is our mother. We are her children. She is our beacon. She holds fast to joy in all of life's circumstances. She chooses joy day after day, despite having already passed through great trials of pain and grief. We are always going to be merely human, just normal human people who need our mom. Mama, if you're listening, we need you to come home. We miss you.
Okay, so that the parts, all of that sounded just like strange language to me, to be honest. It sounded just like not the way you're used to hearing people talk. And in particular, where she said, we are always going to be merely human, just normal human people who need our mom. So am I reading too much into this, Jim?
Well, as a linguist, forensic linguist who compares language all the time, from the manifesto to Ted Kaczynski and 1,000 other cases after that, context is important. How does Annie normally speak or write? Now, of course, it wouldn't be as contrite and as serious as we have in this particular message right now. But does she tend to maybe wax poetic sometimes in certain conversations.
I guess so. She's a poet.
Well, okay, there you go. So that helps. And again, if this is from the heart, I genuinely support what she's saying. I can't imagine, again, there's a lot of supposition here. If there are kidnappers, number one, if they've already reached out, number two, if one of these letters is how they reached out that we know about, as opposed to a communication we don't know about, number three. So are there some instructions in there, including what are they wearing and how are they sitting? And in the order in which you sit will tell us you mean this, or it'll mean Friday instead of Saturday. It'll mean noon instead of midnight. I'm just throwing out there other cases of which I am familiar over the years in which clues were asked like that. The old days, you'd put a response in the classified ads of a newspaper. You're probably not going to see that today, but it could be something on Craigslist or something like that, where they have to put a response in there. And then this was the complimentary advisement to it. But all that aside, kidnap or not, if someone is holding her for some other reason, and we don't know what that would be, we talked about revenge motives our first day together, Megyn, they'd still want to humanize her, as I said. So the sister Annie was very gracious and very loquacious in how she was pronouncing and saying what she said, clearly from the heart. And I don't think anyone in the BAU, behavioral analysis, would have any problem with those putting those words together in that regard.
Well, I wasn't trying to indict her. I'm more interested in whether she's sending like a code, because just the way she talks is, maybe she's responding to a kidnapper's demand, like say it this way, or I don't know. I have no idea. It's just the way she phrases things sounds odd to me, but it could be the poet thing. International disputes, inflation, rising national debt, digital currency. There is a never-ending list of reasons that gold has risen over 700% in the last 20 years. And a never-ending list of reasons smart Americans diversify a portion of their savings into precious metals with Birch Gold Group. Gold can thrive during uncertainty, which is why it's a crucial part of a balanced strategy. It gives you peace of mind, given all the events that could impact the U.S. economy. See if holding gold in a tax-sheltered retirement account is right for you. Birch Gold can help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold. Just text MK to the number 989898 to receive your free info kit on gold. There's no obligation, just useful information. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, consider letting Birch Gold help you diversify with gold, so you too can have peace of mind regardless of the uncertainty. Text MK to the number 989898. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.